So let me read first two paragraphs and then you can read, and then devotees who are joining, they can also read. When Kunti was offering her
Sure, Prabhu.
prayers very feelingly to Krishna, she could not check herself and began to cry loudly before Akrura. Vidur was also present, and both Akrura and Vidur became very sympathetic to the mother of Pandavas and began to solace her by glorifying her five sons, namely Yudhishthir, Arjun, Bhim, Nakul, and Sahadev. They pacified her, saying that her sons were extraordinarily powerful. She should not be perturbed about them, since they were born of great demigods like Imraj, Indra, and Vayudev. Akrur decided to return home and report on the strange circumstances in which he found Kunti and her five sons. He first wanted to give good advice to Dhritarashtra, who was so forcibly inclined toward his own sons and unfavorably inclined towards the Pandavas. When King Dhritarashtra was sitting among friends and relatives, Akrura began to address him, calling him Vaichatravirya. Vaichatravirya means the son of Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya was the name of Dhritarashtra's father. But Dhritarashtra was actually begotten son not of Vichitravirya but of Vyasdev. Formerly, it was the system that if a man was unable to beget a child, his brother could beget a child in the womb of his wife. Devarena Sutotpattihi. That system is now forbidden in this age of Kali. Akrur called Vaichitravirya sarcastically because he was not actually begotten by his father. He was the son of Vyasdev. When a child was begotten in the wife by the husband's brother, the child was claimed by the husband, but of course, the child was not begotten by the husband. This sarcastic remark pointed out that Dhritarashtra was falsely claiming the throne on hereditary grounds. Actually, Pandu had been the rightful king, and in the presence of Pandu's sons, the Pandavas, Dhritarashtra, should not have occupied the throne. So, little bit of history is given here that if you have read Mahabharat, in that we hear how Bhishma Dev took vow of celibacy and he said, I cannot beget children. So then Satyavati, the mother of Bhishma Dev, stepmother, she called for Vyasdev. And then Vyasdev um, had union with Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. So out of three, with two he had union, and one was Dhritarashtra, second was Pandu, and Dasi of Ambika. She gave birth to Vidura. So these are the three brothers which we read in Mahabharata. तो उसके बारे में दिया है because विचित्र वीर्य he passed away at a very young age. So that's why Vyasdev, he is the father of all these three brothers, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. So just a brief history. Okay, so Sahil Prabhu will read next two paragraphs, and then we have Prashant Prabhu. Please read further two paragraphs, and then Ram Rode Prabhu.
Sure. Akrura said, My dear son of Vichitravirya, you have unlawfully usurped the throne of the Pandavas anyway. Somehow or other, you are now on the throne. Therefore, I beg to advise you to please rule the kingdom on moral and ethical principles. If you do so and try to please your subjects in that way, your name and fame will be perpetual. Akrura hinted that although Dhritarashtra was ill treating his nephews, the Pandavas, they happened to be his subjects, even if you treat them not as the owners of the throne, but as your subjects, you should impartially think of their welfare as though they were your own sons. But if you do not follow the principles and act in just the opposite way, you will be unpopular among your subjects, and in the next life, you will have to live in a hellish condition. I therefore hope you will treat your sons and the sons of Pandu equally. Akrura hinted that if Dhritarashtra did not treat the Pandavas and his sons as equals, surely there would be a fight between the two camps of cousins. Since the Pandavas' cause was just, they would come out victorious, and the sons of Dhritarashtra would be killed. This was a prophecy told by Akrura to Dhritarashtra. Akrura further advised Dhritarashtra, in this material world, no one can become an eternal companion to another. Only by chance do we assemble together in a family, society, community, or nation. But at the end, because every one of us has to give up the body, we must be separated. One should not therefore be unnecessarily affectionate toward family members. Dhritarashtra's affection was also unlawful and did not show much intelligence. In plain words, Akrura hinted to Dhritarashtra that his staunch family affection was due to his gross ignorance of fact or his blindness to moral principles. Although we appear combined together in a family, society, or nation, each of us has an individual destiny. Everyone takes birth according to individual past work. Therefore, everyone must individually enjoy or suffer the result of his own karma. There is no possibility of improving one's destiny by cooperative living. Sometimes it happens that one's father accumulates wealth by illegal ways, and the son takes away the money, although it was earned with great difficulty by the father, just as a small fish in the ocean eats the material body of a large old fish. One ultimately cannot accumulate wealth illegally for the gratification of his family, society, community, or nation. An illustration of this principle is that many great empires which developed in the past are no longer existing because their wealth was squandered away by later descendants. One who does not know this subtle law of fruitive activities and who thus gives up the moral and ethical principles carries with him only the reactions of his sinful activities. His ill gotten wealth and possessions are taken by someone else, and he goes to the darkest region of hellish life. One should not therefore accumulate more wealth than allotted to him by destiny. Otherwise, he will be factually blinded to his own interest. Instead of fulfilling his self interest, he will act in just the opposite way for his own downfall.
Thank you. So Akrura is giving very good philosophy to Dhritarashtra, and he's telling how money earned by illegal ways will go away either today or tomorrow. So better we follow the path of righteousness and be happy. Otherwise, just the opposite will happen, and you will fall down. You will have to face downfall. Good. Ram Prabhu, you can read further two paragraphs, and then Prashant Prabhu can read two paragraphs.
Akrura continued, "My dear Dhritarashtra, I beg to advise you not to be blind to the facts of material existence. Material condition, life they either in distress or in happiness, is to be accepted as a dream. One should try to bring his mind and senses under control and live peacefully for spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that except for persons in Krishna consciousness, everyone is always disturbed in mind and full of anxiety, even those trying for liberation or merging into the Brahman effulgence, and the yogis who try to achieve perfection in mystic power cannot have peace of mind. Pure devotees of Krishna have to demands to take of Krishna. They are simply satisfied with service to him. Actual peace and mental tranquility can be attained only in perfect Krishna consciousness. After hearing these moral instructions from Akrura, Dhritarashtra replied, "My dear Akrura, you are very charitable in giving me good instructions, but unfortunately, I cannot accept them. A person destined to destined to die does not utilize the effects of nectar, although it may be administered to him. I can understand that your instructions are valuable. Unfortunately, they do not stay in my flickering mind, just as the glittering lightning in the sky does not stay fixed in a cloud. I can understand only that no one can stop the onwards progress of the supreme will. I understand that the supreme personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa has appeared in the family of the Yādavas to decrease the burdensome load on this earth. This
Thank you. Thank you. So we can see here that he is speaking such nice philosophy to defend his activities, all the atrocities he is doing against Pandavas. उसको बचाने के लिए he is using philosophy. So in Bhagavatam also you will find great demons. They are also very great philosophers like Kamsa. We have read previously when Kamsa came to know that the eighth child is daughter. Kamsa spoke such good philosophy to Devaki and Vasudev that I am not the cause of the death of your six children. So please know that everything happens by the will of providence. Why? They are using philosophy to justify all the injustice they have done to the subordinates. So there is a famous lecture by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Philosophy without character has no meaning. So if you have heard this lecture, if you have not heard, someday we can play in our morning classes. जबरदस्त class है वो. Even in IT companies, people speak so many philosophy. But why they are speaking? They want to enjoy sense gratification. So such philosophy without any application, without any good character, has no meaning. So here also, the Dhritarashtra is speaking such nice philosophy. Everything happens by the will of Supreme Lord, and Lord has come to decrease the burden on the earth. But what is his purpose? To exploit the Pandavas and to remove them from the kingdom. So such philosophy has very less or absolutely no meaning. Thank you. Prashant Prabhu, you can read next two paragraphs and then we'll begin with next chapter.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Dhritarashtra hinted to Akrura that he had complete faith in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, he was very partial to his family members. In the very near future, Krishna would vanquish all the members of his family, and in a helpless condition, Dhritarashtra would take shelter to Krishna's lotus feet. To show his special favor to a devotee, Krishna usually take away all the objects of his material affection, thus forcing the devotee to be materially helpless, with no alternative but to accept the lotus feet of Krishna. This actually happened to Dhritarashtra after the end of the battle of Kurukshetra. Dhritarashtra could realize two opposing factors acting before him. He could understand that Krishna was there to remove all the unnecessary burdens of the world. His sons were an unnecessary burden, and so he expected that Krishna would remove all the unnecessary burdens for his sons. Understanding these two contradictory ways of material existence are very difficult to understand. They can be taken only as the inco- inconceivable execution of the plan of the Supreme, who by his inconceivable energy create his material world and enters into it and sets into motion the three modes of nature. When everything is created, he enters into each and every living entity and into the smallest atom. No one can understand the incalculable plans of the Supreme Lord. After hearing this statement, Akrur could clearly understand that Dhritarashtra was not going to change his policy of determinating against the Pandavas in favor of his sons. He at once took leave of his friends in Hastinapur and returned to his home in the kingdom of the Yadus. After returning home, vividly informed Lord Krishna and Balram of the actual situation in Hastinapur and the intentions of Dhritarashtra. Akrur was sent to Hastinapur by Krishna to study these, and by the grace of the Lord he was successful. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 49th chapter of Krishna, ill-motivated Dhritarashtra.
Thank you. So this is discriminating. So while reading, we have to be careful that we read as it is. So last two paragraphs, we saw he's speaking very good philosophy, but he is not ready to follow the philosophy. And Akrur understood that he is not going to change his policies against the Pandavas, and he will continue favoring his son. So he went back to Hastinapur. I mean, he went back to Mathura from Hastinapur, and he informed Krishna and Balram that so and so is the current situation in Hastinapur. And so Prabhupada is mentioning Akrura was sent to Hastinapur by Krishna to study this. And by the grace of the Lord, he was successful. His seva was achieved. So he completely did his service very nicely and he gave the report. Hastinapur mein kya ho raha hai to Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, we have 10 more minutes because we started late. So we will begin with this very important chapter on Dwarika Lila, Dwarika Dham. Krishna erects the Dwarika fort. Okay, so now let me see who all have joined. Okay, Aditya Prabhu can read next two paragraphs, then Dhruv Prabhu, and then Rishikesh Prabhu, and then we'll stop for today. Yeah, Aditya Prabhu, go ahead.
Upon Kamsa's death, his two wives became widows. According to the Vedic civilization, a woman is never independent. She has three stages of life. In childhood, a woman should live under the protection of her father. A youthful woman should live under the protection of her young husband. And in the event of death of her husband, she should live under the protection of her grown-up sons. Or if she has no grown-up sons, she must go back to her father and live as a widow under his protection. It appears that Kamsa had no grown-up sons. Therefore, his wives became widows and they returned to the shelter of their father. Kamsa had two queens, Asti and Prapti, and both happened to be the daughters of King Jarāsandha, the lord of Bihar province, known in those days as Magadha. After reaching home, the two queens explained their awkward position following Kamsa's death. The king of Magadha, Jarāsandha, was mortified on hearing of the pitiable condition of his daughters. When informed of the death of Kamsa, Jarāsandha decided on the spot that he would rid the world of all the members of the Yadu dynasty. He decided that since Krishna had killed Kamsa, the whole dynasty of the Yadu should be killed. He began to make extensive agreements to attack the kingdom of Mathura with his innumerable military phalanxes consisting of many thousands of chariots, horses, elephants, and infantry soldiers. Jarāsandha prepared 13 such military phalanxes to retaliate the death of Kamsa. Taking with him all his military strength, he attacked the capital of the Yadu kings, Mathura, surrounding it from all directions. Shri Krishna, who appeared like an ordinary human being, saw the immense strength of Jarāsandha, which appeared like an ocean but to cover a beach at any moment. He also perceived that the inhabitants of Mathura were overwhelmed with fear. He began to think within himself about his mission as an incarnation and how to tackle the present situation before him. He thought that since he was not going to conquer the kingdom of Magad, to kill the king of Magad, namely Jarāsandha, was useless. His mission was to diminish the overburdening population of the whole world. Therefore, he took the opportunity to face so many men, chariots, elephants, and horses. The military strength of Jarāsandha had appeared before him, and he decided to kill the entire force of Jarāsandha so that he would go back and reorganize his military strength.
Thank you. So, how Jarasandha attacked Krishna 17 times, उसके बारे में यहाँ पे mention किया गया है. So, first time when he attacked, so Prabhupada has given very great detail, and then again he will attack like that 17 times. We will see now. He is going to attack Krishna and the Mathura city. Okay. Dhruv Prabhu can read next two paragraphs, then Rishikesh Prabhu.
While Lord Kṛṣṇa was Prabhuji,
Rishikesh Prabhu.
While Lord Krishna was thinking in that way, two beautiful chariots, fully equipped with driver, weapons, flags, and other paraphernalia, arrived for him from our space. Krishna saw the two chariots present before him and immediately addressed his elder brother Balram, who is also known as Shankar's son. Before, may my dear elder brother, best among the Aryans, you are the Lord of the universe, and specifically you are the protector of the Yadu dynasty. The members of the Yadu dynasty sense great danger before the soldier of Jarāsandha, and they are very much aggrieved just to give them protection. Your chariot is also here, filled with weapons. I request you to sit on your chariot and kill all these soldiers, the entire military strength of the enemy. The two of us have descended on this earth just to annihilate such unnecessary bellicose forces and give protection to the pious devotees. So we have the opportunity to fulfill our mission. Please let us execute it. Thus Krishna and Balram, the descendant of Dasara, decided to annihilate the 13 military companies of Jarāsandha. After equipping themselves with military dress, Krishna थोड़ा खाली हाँ. Military dress, Krishna and Balram mounted their chariots. Krishna rode the chariot on which Daruka was the driver. With a small army, they came out of the city of Mathurā, blowing their respective conch shells. Crucially enough, although the other party was equipped with greater military strength, when they heard the vibration of Krishna's conch shell, their hearts were shaken. When Jarasandha saw Balram and Krishna, he was a little bit compassionate because they happened to be related to him as grandsons. He specifically addressed Krishna as Purush, Purushadham, meaning the lowest among men. Actually, Krishna is known in all Vedic literature as Purushottam, the highest among men. Jarasandha had a intention of addressing Krishna as Purushottam, but great scholars have determined the true meaning of the word Purush, Purushdham to be one who makes all other personalities go downward. Actually, no one can be equal to or greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you. This is Purush Adham. Adham means fallen. Purush Adham means most fallen. So Acharyas are telling इसका असली meaning क्या है? Purush Adham, one who makes all personalities go downward. जो बाकी सभी को गिरा देता है. दैट इज सुप्रीम लॉर्ड कृष्णा. बट जरासंधा वॉज टेलिंग इन अ सार्कास्टिक वे कि तुम सबसे लोएस्ट अमॉन्ग मेन, इस प्रकार से. बट एक्चुअली ही इज द टॉप मोस्ट. So that's what Prabhupada is mentioning here, highest among men. Okay, last two paragraphs, and then I have to conclude because I have meeting with Prabhuji. I think Prabhuji has not joined. Okay, so we have 5 minutes. Dhruv Prabhu, now will you be able to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Jarasandha said, "It will be the great dishonor for me to fight with boys like Krishna and Balram. Because Krishna had killed Kamsa, Jarasandha specifically addressed him as the killer of his own relatives. Kamsa had killed many of his own nephews, yet Jarasandha did not take notice. But because Krishna had killed his material uncle, Kamsa, Jarasandha tried to criticize him. That is the way of demonic dealings. Demons do not try to find their own faults or those of their friends, but try to find the faults of their enemies. Jarasandha also criticized Krishna for not even being a Kshatriya because he was raised by Maharaj Nanda. Krishna was not Kshatriya but a Vaishya. Vaishyas are generally called Guptas, and the word Gupta can also be used to mean hidden. So, Krishna was both hidden and raised by Nanda Maharaj. Jarasandha accused Krishna of three faults: that he killed his own material uncle, that he was not even a Kshatriya, and that he was hidden in his childhood. And therefore, Jarasandha felt ashamed to fight with him. Next he turned towards Balram and addressed him. You, Balram, if you like you can fight along with him, and if you have patience then you can wait to be killed by my arrows. Thus you can be promoted to heaven. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that Kshatriya can benefit in either of two ways. While fighting, if a Kshatriya gains victory in fight, he enjoys the result of victory. But even if he killed, he is promoted to the heavenly kingdom.